Good morning and welcome to Join the Dots. Today we're going to talk about gold primarily, but I'm also going to visit some other topics: China, fascism, sadly, and also Swift and XRP and Hedera. Okay, so let's start with gold, and this is a piece from goldsilver.com, and it's with Mike Maloney. Now, Mike has written many books on gold. He's an old hand at this, and of course a lot of these old hands, Rick Rule, Mike Maloney, Andy Sheckman, they're all being proved right because they've been on this journey for gold for the best part of 20 years, 25 years even. And what gold has done over that period is beat the S&P, beat the bond market, beat every market. So they were right. And we just have to say, well done. So I watched this piece on Mike Maloney, and he said, it looks like it's from April because looking at the dates and the references he makes, I think it's from April. And he says that Scott Bessent said gold is a risk-off, risk-on asset. Now, this is what I've been telling you about gold, isn't it? And it's what I've been showing you in terms of its reaction to, say, the Fed statement or anything else. It's reacting upwards on either bad news, which of course means crisis, which means gold is more sought, or good news, which means there's more liquidity, which means more money goes towards gold. Okay, so it's a win-win. It's a journey we should all be on if we think about it. Critical thinking, vital in this world of corruption, misinformation, disinformation. All those words that were used in the vaccine period are totally applicable to the financial period. Okay, people are fed lies for profit. It's sad, but it's true. So gold is a risk-off and a risk-on asset, said Scott Bessent. In other words, it has asymmetric risk. And that's why I said to you, it should be part of your journey. Not all of it, it should be part of. Silver the same, because silver just follows in its shadow until the point where the public rush in looking for the answer, late as usual, but I think they'll be okay this time. I don't think they'll get caught with a top and then a crash. They will with the stock market though. Be very careful now. Be very careful. There's not much holding this up now other than hopium and false information, misinformation, disinformation. And we talked about that the other day when we looked at the results of that company, didn't we? And how they hadn't told you the full truth. That was it Walmart? Anyway, mid-February, Donald Trump said, gold is the answer. Okay, the only place to hide is gold. But they didn't have the gold in February. And then suddenly, America started importing masses of gold. This is all covered in Mike Maloney's piece, so I'm not going to give you every single word from his piece. I'm just going to say to you, it's worth watching. I only find the pieces that I think are worth watching. I'll just refer to my notes here to see if there's anything else. The next thing that came up was Bridgewater and Ray Dalio after 6 minutes of this piece. And Ray says there's a once-in-a-lifetime risk to US assets. I just talked about that, didn't I? Okay. The markets have a once-in-a-lifetime risk. Everything is going to change. Everything. And that, of course, links in with crypto, doesn't it? Because if you think about it, and I saw a piece today, but it's 3 days old, so don't think it's going to move the market. I do not trade. I hate it. Do not trade. Okay, I don't care what the price does in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, 1 month. I don't care. I look for journeys. And that piece was on Swift, and it was going to use XRP and Hedera, 150 trillion transaction market in a year. Okay, that's a 3-day-old piece, but I'll send it out to you. So that's what Ray Dalio is talking about, isn't he? He doesn't say it. He's talking about a once-in-a-lifetime change to the financial system. And that's what we're going through. And that's why I've launched Join the Dots, because I've been working on this, as I've said to you before. I've been doing these sort of audios, videos for 5 years now to clients. And it's given me the background. It's given me the dots to join, and it's given me the millions of dots to totally ignore. The noise, the lies, the misinformation, disinformation. It's so pervasive out there. It's so pervasive. We have to avoid it. And you can go to someone like Ray Dalio and you know that he doesn't do noise. He doesn't do noise. He's a massive historian of financial systems, money systems, life generally. He's a very good guy, Ray Dalio, I think. And he says we have this once in a generation shift, and there is an exceptional risk to US assets. I know it's easy to join the trend, but it was in 99 and it was in 08 in housing. It's a bubble, and that doesn't mean it can't blow bigger, but it just means the explosion will be louder and more damaging. So for me, no way, not touching it. Don't care if it goes up 5% in a day. I know in my world, the S&P will settle at around 2,000 to 2,500 at some point. That's their journey. Our journey in gold is to a lot higher. Now, Mike Maloney picks on a figure here, just to cover the amount of notes and coins in circulation, he picks on gold at $10,000. Fair enough. I think it has a chance of going higher than that, but I don't put a date on it because I don't trade. I go for the journey. The journey's a safe one. Why do I trade? Why would I trade? What's the point? Why take a risk? It can be an addiction. People can be addicted to taking risks, especially if they've made money in a series of trades. They cannot get off that train. My train journey is a slow, steady, well, it's not slow, is it? It's faster than the S&P, it's faster than the bond market. Since 2000, it's 9.9% compound growth. What's to lose? And now we've got asymmetric risk in our favour. What's to lose? Now, a piece of news came out. It was sort of not talked about too much. I'll send you the link to China Update. You'll see all these links on your screen at the end of this, at the last slide of this presentation, and then you can just touch them. They're all YouTube. You can bring them up. China's Evergrande has finally died. Well, we knew that 5 years ago, didn't we? Only people who refused to accept the journey didn't understand that Evergrande was dead. And with Evergrande, the entire Chinese property market. And with the entire Chinese property market, 30% of the economy. And with 30% of the economy, consumption. And with consumption, recession, depression, deflation. They're all there. They're all in China at the moment. They're all in China at the moment. And this will spread. This will spread because Chinese banks now and Chinese government are going to have to raise phenomenal amounts of money. And who's going to be buying those bonds? 30-year bond at 2 point something. Who's going to buy a Chinese 30-year bond at 2 point something? Only the Chinese banks. So what does that do to the banking system? And what does that do to the global banking system for any of those banks that are interacting with Chinese banks? That's like 08, that's like subprime. Started in the States, went around Europe, went around the whole Western world basically, didn't it? It was a global financial crisis, although it didn't affect China at that time and they printed lots of money and that's why they had their property bubble. You can't get out of these problems quickly. It's like trading. Take the journey. Okay, take the journey. It might be unpopular, but take it because it's safer and it's more sure. Now, I want to come back to the Robert Malone piece that I sent you out, I think it was Monday. I sent you out the Robert Malone piece. And I think it may have stirred with a lot of people the corporate fascism that we're living through. This is the cause of an awful lot of our problems. This is the cause, not a symptom. What we're seeing around us are symptoms. The cause is corporate fascism. And no more is it evident than in the medical industry where you have medical fascism as a sort of subdivision, okay? Remember the vaccine, remember the COVID period. No other opinion was allowed, no science was discussed, no debate was had. You were told one thing, you had to do it. That is authoritarianism, it is total control, it is fascism. Simple as that, fascism. Okay. Now, that was in the medical sphere. And what we're seeing now, and I showed you on Monday with Dr. Malone's mea culpa, was he understands it, and he understood it all the time. He was injured, by the way, by the vaccine, and it was the mRNA vaccine, which he was partly involved in the invention in the Salk Institute, I think it was 1984. So he knows it. Okay, he knows it. Now, what we're seeing now under Kennedy is open discussion, open debate, which is what science, follow it, is based upon. Open discussion, open debate, hypothesis, testing, data, and you come up with a proper answer. Or you can just shout to everyone, stop them talking, stop them debating, tell them if they don't do this, they'll lose their job, tell them they can't travel anywhere, tell them they can't go to school, tell them they can't go to hospital, tell them everything. It's fascism, okay? Now, I'm saying it now because I want you to understand this, because it is so important in what is going to happen. Because the lack of trust in every system, judiciary, police, medical, the lack of trust is, these are all symptoms of this total control phase of the world where the authorities think they know everything. And we know that's not true, and we know it's crippling Europe, and we know it's crippling the medical industry, or it's crippling people's lives in health. So I'm going to send you 2 pieces on this issue. I want you to watch them because I want you, if you can understand if you can understand the cause, the symptoms become a lot easier to see. Okay, so I'll send you 2 pieces out. One is the influence of American Academy of Pediatrics on the Vaccine Advisory Committee. They've been thrown out the room. They're not allowed to influence the vaccine committee anymore because that's what they've been doing. And they get vaccine after vaccine after, I think it's 57 vaccines in the childhood schedule in America. 57? Not one test on the cumulative effect. Each one is presented with its data. None of them have the cumulative effect. None of them test on, and when you go to a doctor, what does he say to you? He says, are you on any new drugs at the moment? Because he wants to know what the interaction will be with the new drug that he might prescribe and the old drug that you're on. 57, no testing for cumulative effect. 0. Think about it, okay? And there's a wonderful piece, Weaponizing Misinformation. I'll send them both out. I don't want to concentrate on this too much. I just want you to understand it, because once you start to understand it, an awful lot of things out there become more obvious. Okay, so a lot of information. Thank you very much for your time. Please share these videos. We really are getting momentum now. We're over 7,000. We're kicking on. Let's see if we can get to 10 by the weekend. That would be super. All right, thank you very much.